Hi everyone, sorry we're a couple minutes early. I clicked the wrong button, but oh well, let's get started. Hi, my name is Lauren Urbonis and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. If you have any questions or you need anything from the video, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help. I was trying to type in the materials that I was using, and then I think I accidentally went live. So that's okay. We will just get set up here and I think I'm good to go. So that's all right. If you're watching, please say hi in the comments and I'd love to hear where you're from. And let's enjoy our video today. So what I have for you is a really cute pop-out card. Now this card, I first learned the kind of design from Karen, and I cannot pronounce her last name. Kovac. Anyway, she used one of our new bundles, the Tea Time bundle, and kind of designed a card using the layout that you see here. But I really wanted to showcase this layout with the new ink colors that we have. So what I did was I grabbed the In Color Designer Series paper that is really prominent in our 5 new in colors. So we have Starry Sky, Parakeet Party, Orchid Oasis, Tahitian Tide, right there, and Sweet Sorbet. And you can use any of the patterns you see on here. You can use any of the other in color packages too. But I recreated this card using the Orchid Oasis. For this one here, you can see my version using the Sweet Sorbet here. And the card that I'm actually going to show you is using Tahitian Tide. So my goal is to have all 5 of these samples up on my Instagram by the end of the week so that you can see which color really appeals to you. Now, before we get started, I did mention our designer series paper already, but if you want to use the same bundle that I have been using the Sending Smiles bundle on page 14. So this is a really versatile bundle in the fact that you have gorgeous flowers, you have some really nice sentiments, and you have this really prominent sending word that fits with all of the different phrases in the set. So I have chosen Sending Smiles Across the Miles. However, you could choose any one of these sayings that you'd like, and there are coordinating dies for you to cut out that little tiny label that you see me using on the card. So I'm going to explain a little bit later how I'm putting these pieces together, but if you'd like to follow along, let me give you the measurements for the pieces that I'm going to be using. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need is a base, this guy right here. So our card base is going to measure 4 inches by 11. Okay, so we're just trimming it down a slight little bit on the sides. So 4 by 11. And then we're going to have to do a bunch of scoring. So you need your scoreboard handy. And I will have these written out in the description. I haven't done that yet because I was typing and then clicked live instead. So that's okay. I will get those to you. But if you'd like them right now, you're going to score at 2 inches, 3 3/4, 7 1/4, and 9. Okay, and you will get to do a little bit of folding right now. So I folded one already just because I had this in an envelope, but I'm going to fold towards the center, and then I'm going to fold this flap backwards. Okay, and you'll want to grab yourself either a bone folder or a block or a really sharp nail to fold that back. Okay, so there's one flap. And then for the second one, we're going to fold inwards for the first fold and back out. Okay, so you're probably going to have a little heart palpitation at the moment because as you're folding this, you're like, oh my goodness, this is different. There's a 1/4 of an inch hanging off my edge. That is okay. That's how the card is made, so don't stress. These 2 panels, when folded together, will have a nice square on the back you will have an even smaller, technically now rectangle. That's okay. That's how the pop-out works, because you don't want everything identical. Otherwise, you can see any sort of little line or mistake. We do really want that pop-out feature. And so when you're folding this, you will notice right away those differences in your widths. Okay? So now that we've got all of these base pieces, we're going to need to cut a bunch of different things to add to your card. So let's give you all the measurements for the vanilla pieces that I'd like you to cut, and you can do that first, okay? So vanilla designer series paper goes right in the middle here, okay? So that one is going to measure 3 3/8 by 3 7/8. Now we need 2 little rectangles. Those are going to end up going in this space right over here, and I will attach in a minute. So 2 of them that are identical, you are going to cut those at 1 5/8 by 3 7/8. And 2 more going on the edges here. These guys are going to be 1 7/8 by 3 7/8. Okay, so lots of measurements. Again, don't worry, they're going to be listed for you, so you can always come back and cut these pieces. The main feature is that they are all 3 7/8 of an inch tall, and then the only difference is the widths. So you've got 1 7/8, 1 5/8, 3 3/8. Those are the differences. Okay, so let's attach all of those pieces so they are out of our way. I like to use double-sided tape. You can use Tombow liquid glue, you can use seal. Whatever you are the most comfortable with is perfect. So we're just going to put tape on the tops and bottoms here, and they should fit with just barely a border. So I like to cut all my pieces and then actually put them in place, you know, just to make sure I've cut everything properly, and then I can attach them. It's really easy to trim something down if you recognize your mistake beforehand. It's a little trickier if you've already put the adhesive all over it. So just make sure to check before you add these pieces on. And this middle one is going to be our piece that you can write on. So I'm not adding designer series paper on top of it. I'm going to end up just leaving it ivory, and you can write a little note. You can always stamp a little bit in the corners if you'd like. But for now, just left it completely blank and ready to go. Okay. So there we go. There's our little panel, all ready with our ivory. You can use any color you want for an accent. I just really liked the ivory because I was able to use it with all of my different colors. I didn't have to sit here and mix and match anything different, but it's completely up to you what you decide. So now you're noticing some patterns of designer series paper. So we're going to cut those pieces. And again, I'm sorry for the random measurements here, but choose 2 different patterns. So you're going to make 2 of them the exact same to fit in these small sections, and 2 of them are going to be larger to fit on the sides. So both of these sets are 3 3/4 of an inch long. The larger set is going to be 1 3/4 of an inch, and 2 of them. So 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then this designer paper is going to be 1 1/2 by 3 3/4. Again, grab yourself some tape or adhesive of your choice, and you can attach these in place. There we go. So it's really up to you, whatever pattern you'd like, you can use. They're very easy to flip around and just take your pick. And those should fit just with a teeny tiny little border around them. I wasn't very generous with the ivory borders because I wanted the paper to be the star of the show here. Oh, thank you so much for watching. I love the name, Dr. Zeus. I got a little comment saying somebody's enjoying the videos and tuning in. Where are you tuning in from, my dear? Okay, there we go. So here are our nice panels. We're ready to do a little bit of decorating, okay? So the first thing that I want to do is to make some sort of decal. So I decided I wanted to use some of our new dies because they're super, super cute. So these are the Stylish Shapes dies. They come in this entire set. So you get circles, squares, and banners with two fun features. They are layering, so you can pile them on top of each other, and you have stitching both on the outside and the inside of your die. So you can always cut something out of like a card front per se, and you can still have that stitching around it, and then use the circle that you've cut out for something else. So it's totally up to you what size of circle or square you want for this card. I chose the largest one just because I wanted a really predominant shape on the front here. So I'm going to show you the pieces I've cut out with that. So I've cut two. I cut one with my matching cardstock color, and for this one it's Tahitian Tide, and then one with vellum. And I decided the vellum kind of took your eye away from the starkness of the blue and let me pile on the different colors together. So anyways, I embossed this guy with our, here it is, Fern embossing folder. This is one of our new 3D folders. So I embossed it with that just to give it a little bit of texture. And then I'm going to attach these two together, but I'm not piling them right on top of one another. Let me move this into here and hopefully you can see it. I'm actually going to offset them just a tiny bit. Do you see that little top peeking through? Kind of just is a fun way to show there's a color hiding under there. Okay, so I'm going to move this base out of the way and just work on this decal right now. So to attach this, we're hiding so much of it in behind the words. And because we've embossed this, it's really kind of playing with your eyes already. So you don't even need to worry about adhesive showing through. Just put a couple strips of tape on your circle and just offset it the teeniest, tiniest little bit. Doesn't need to be much, but you'll have a little blue showing here, and then on the bottom, a little bit of vellum. So now is where I brought in my stamp set. So I've already done these pieces because I didn't want to make you watch forever and always, but I used the Sending Wishes bundle or Sending Smiles bundle here. I stamped this word here, the sending, in Versamark white embossing powder, cut it out with the die, and then I did the same with one of the flowers and our sentiment. So all of these little pieces are dies and stamps from that set. And all I did was I've already heat embossed them and cut them. So on the backs, we're going to add some dimensionals because we do want these popping out, but you'll notice my S kind of hangs off of the circle. So don't put a dimensional right on the S, put it more in the middle letters. And you can put it on the G on the end here, like that. There we go. So we've turned that over and now you can start building. So I'm going to put Sending right across the middle of my little circle. And then underneath it, I'm going to put the smiles across the miles. But of course, you could put anything you want from that set or something else you own. Once again, popping that little guy up on dimensionals. This can go just in line with the G, kind of underneath the rest of your letters here. And now your flower. I just thought the decal looked a little plain without it, so I embossed that flower for myself, and I'm popping it right above the E and the N. Okay, so there's my little sending. To attach this to the card now, I'm going to fold my card together, and I'm only going to put dimensionals on one side, because if I was to put it on both, or if I was to put it on my circle, I risk closing my card up because the circle would be across both of these and then you couldn't pull it open. Okay, so all you're going to do is choose the left or the right. It does not matter which side at all. And you're going to put about 3 or 4 dimensionals in this little space. We know our decal's large enough to cover this, so it's quite easy just to put them wherever we want. And the reason I'm holding this closed is now you do actually want to make sure your decal's centered in that kind of DSP square. So I've tilted mine just to the side to give it kind of a fun offset look, and you can do whatever you'd like. Okay, so here's a cute card. You can leave it like this if you want, but if you'd like something a little bit sturdier, or you maybe want something a little extra, here's where this back panel is going to come into play. So for that back panel, I cut myself a piece of Berry Vanilla. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. If you'd like, you can emboss it with something. I'm not going to on this one, but I did on my original sample. I didn't on this one. Okay, so you can see the difference. It's very subtle between the two. If you really want some sort of texture, you can use your subtles embossing folders or any small little detail set. And I wanted a couple little strips of designer paper, so I've cut those at 4 inches by 3/4. 2 of them exactly the same, and we're going to add them to the sides of our card. So turn that over, and we'll just make this nice and easy. One strip down the middle. Okay, so these guys, you do not have to be fancy. Just give them a little bit of a border on the top and the bottom and whatever side you're closest to. So that should be about even with my top, bottom, and left side. And then of course, it'll be right open in the middle here. And then sometimes, because I'm right-handed, I just flip my papers around and do the exact same thing. Okay. So there's the 2 little borders. And now we're going to add a little bit of adhesive right in the middle here so that I can put this piece right down. So you can either put it on the vanilla, or you guys, I'll show you, it works a little better for you to see when I add it onto the card back. Okay, so you don't need a ton, just something to stick it down. And if you can kind of close this up, you're going to line up the bottom of your cardstock and the top with the designer paper. It should fit roughly in the middle of your workspace here, okay? So you should be able to kind of find that center space. And voila, there is your card. Really bright, really vibrant, but super fun. I also found if you maybe didn't have enough writing space on this part inside, you can always turn it over and put a little bit more of a message on the back too. So there you go. There's 3 different colors, and hopefully I will have the other two done for you soon. They like to pop, so there we go. And I don't know if you guys follow my Instagram, but I did post a picture of one of my cards from Club this month. And those are exclusive kits for people who purchase them here in Canada. They're $15 or free with a $35 order. And I can ship them out. You just get a video tutorial to complete them with. But this was one of our cards this month. I used this exact same layout and measurements to make a little panda card with our new Wild and Sweet stamp. So here's the stamp. You can use the raccoon or the koala as well, but I liked the panda, the sleeping panda. So here's a bonus idea for you. All you have to do is sub out the colors and the dyes and instead use different paper and a stamp for this guy. So there you go. 4 different ideas for you so far for this little cute pop-out card. I actually like this because I called it my pop-out panda card. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I just love meeting with you every week. If you are just popping in for the first time, we do this every Tuesday at noon. So you can join me live or you can always watch the replay later. But I'm just delighted to share a few crafting tips and some fun projects with you. If there's something you are really curious about that you want to see, shoot me a note. I do plan a little bit in advance, but I always have room to kind of plug projects in here or there in the future. So I look forward to crafting with you guys and hearing from you soon. Bye!